Thank you for your introduction. Hello, everyone. My name is Hiroshi Honda. I'm a PhD student at Keio University. I'm glad to have a chance to speak in this seminar. Today, I will be talking about analogical reasoning with neuro-symbolic artificial intelligence. First, I will introduce research in our laboratory. I belong to the Haniwara laboratory of Keio University in Japan. Our target is to create a robot brain capable of conversation. Visual processing, language processing, and concept processing are important elements. We are also working on machine learning and neural networks research to achieve this target. The outline looks like this. First, I will give an overview of reasoning in artificial intelligence. Next, I will explain what neuro-symbolic AI is. Finally, I will explain the main theme of this time, analogical reasoning with neuro-symbolic AI. First, I will explain reasoning in artificial intelligence. Recently, the progress of artificial intelligence has been remarkable. Speech recognition and image recognition by AI have been achieved the same or better ability as humans. Playing games with AI is also beyond human ability. For example, AI defeated the human Go champion. However, it is difficult for AI to reason like humans. So, reasoning is one of the frontiers of artificial intelligence. AI researchers have been studying reasoning for over 60 years, but AI is still far behind humans. They are working on symbolic AI or artificial neural networks research for reasoning. Symbolic AI is method of reasoning and search with symbolic representation. Artificial neural networks are machine learning models inspired by the biological neurons. By these methods, AI researchers are trying to implement various types of reasoning. For example, deductive reasoning, inductive reasoning, and analogical reasoning, etc. First, I will explain study of reasoning in symbolic AI. One of the features of symbolic AI is it is easy for humans to interpret symbolic AI. This is an example of reasoning in symbolic AI. This system is constructed by Prolog. Prolog is one of the logic programming languages and a subset of first-order predicate logic. When a user asks questions to the Prolog system, the system answers the questions. This is an example of question and answer. This question means, who is Tom's father? Here, uppercase letters X mean variables. After the Prolog system is input into the question, the system reasons with facts and rules stored in the knowledge base. These are examples of facts and rules. This fact means Bob is a male. This means Tom is a male. And this means Bob is Tom's parent. Prolog rules consist of a head and a body. A head has one atomic formula and a body has some atomic formulas. If all atomic formulas in the body of the rule is true, the head of the atomic formula is true. This rule means if X is a male and X is Y's parent, then X is Y's father. After the Prolog system reasons, the system answers the question. The answer is x equals to Bob. This means Tom's father is Bob. I will explain how the Prolog system reasons. The Prolog system uses a backtrack method to reason. Backtrack method is a method of searching for a solution while backtracking at a branch point. This is a previous example. Who is Tom's father? Suppose a question is input into the Prolog system. First, the Prolog system does an operation called resolution. Resolution is an operation solving a new goal from given a goal and a rule. The Prolog system picks up the rule from knowledge base and creates a new goal from the question and the rule. The new goal is X is a male and X is Tom's parent. Y in the body of the rule was substituted to Tom. Next, the system searches for X where X is a male and X is Tom's parent are true. Next, Prolog system does an operation called matching. Matching confirms that given two terms, they are the same or the variables included in them can be embodied. The Prolog system picks up the fact from knowledge base, and X is Tom's parent and Mary is Tom's parent are matching. In this case, X is substituted to Mary. However, the fact Mary is a male is not stored in knowledge base. As a result, this fails and the system backtracks. Next, the Prolog system picks up another fact. Bob is Tom's parent from knowledge base. X is Tom's parent and Bob is Tom's parent are matching. In this case, X is substituted to Bob. The fact Bob is a male is stored in knowledge base. So the Prolog system answers X is Bob. This means Tom's father is Bob. In this way, Prolog uses symbolic representations and it is easy for humans to interpret. Another feature of symbolic AI is if data includes unknown words, symbolic AI cannot reason. Suppose the user asks the system, who is Tom's dad? That is a synonym for father. However, knowledge base doesn't have the facts which predicate that. So the Prolog system answers no. Furthermore, another feature of symbolic AI is if data includes errors or inconsistencies, symbolic AI cannot reason. If data includes errors or inconsistencies, the Prolog system answers incorrectly. Suppose you accidentally input inconsistent data. Tom's parent is Tom in knowledge base. The Prolog system can't reason correctly and answers X is Bob or Tom. This means Tom's father is Bob or Tom. Inputting just one incorrect data will prevent the system from answering correctly. Next, I will explain study of reasoning in artificial neural networks. One of the features of artificial neural networks is it is difficult for humans to interpret artificial neural networks. This is an example of reasoning in artificial neural networks. When facts and questions are input into an artificial neural network, the artificial neural network is trained to output the answer. Here, John is in the playground and John picked up the football facts. Where is the football is a question. Playground is the answer to the question that is reasoned from these facts. However, it is difficult for humans to interpret artificial neural networks because they are composed of a very large number of parameters. These parameters are continuous variables. Another feature of symbolic AI is artificial neural networks are robust against data ambiguity and errors. Suppose you input an unknown word, soccer ball, into the artificial neural networks instead of a known word, football. Artificial neural networks can represent unknown words with continuous variables. So even if unknown words are input into artificial neural networks, it will be possible to output. How should AI reason? Symbolic AI has a strong point, such as it is easy for humans to interpret symbolic AI. However, symbolic AI has weak points, such as if data includes unknown words, symbolic AI cannot reason, and if data includes errors or inconsistencies, symbolic AI cannot reason. On the other hand, artificial neural networks have a weak point, such as it is difficult for humans to interpret artificial neural networks. Artificial neural networks have a strong point, such as artificial neural networks are robust against data ambiguity and errors. AI will be able to reason more powerfully if we can combine only the strong points of symbolic AI and artificial neural networks. Neuro-Symbolic AI has features that are easy for human interpretation and robust against data ambiguity and errors. Next, I will explain what Neuro-Symbolic AI is. First, I will explain history of Neuro-Symbolic AI. Symbolic AI began in 1958 when John McCarthy introduced first-order predicate logic to AI. In the field of symbolic AI, expert systems and automated theorem proving were actively studied from the 1970s to the 1980s. Prolog was developed in 1972. However, since the 1990s, symbolic AI has been used only in a limited area because it is difficult to deal with data ambiguity and errors. On the other hand, the first boom in artificial neural networks began in 1957, and there have been 3 booms so far. Currently, artificial neural networks are in the midst of a 3rd boom caused by deep learning. Studies on symbolic AI with artificial neural networks began at the time of the 2nd artificial neural network boom. However, these studies were limited to method proposals, owing to limitations of the hardware ability and learning ability of the artificial neural networks at the time. In the 3rd artificial neural network boom, the hardware ability and the learning ability of artificial neural networks increased, and Neuro-Symbolic AI has been studied again. Next, I will introduce our previous study of Neuro-Symbolic AI. We trained resolution and matching of Prolog using artificial neural networks. Resolution is an operation solving a new call from given a call and a rule. Matching confirms that given two terms, they are the same or the variables included in them can be embodied. This is an example of the resolution model during training. When the body of the rule is input into the resolution model, we train the resolution model to output the head of the rule. For example, if this head, Bob is Tom's father, is input into this model will be trained to output Bob is a male and Bob is Tom's father. This is an example of the resolution model during predicting. Even if the body of the rule includes unknown words, the resolution model can predict that the head of the rule when the body of the rule is input into the resolution model. If the head Bob is Tom's dad is input into this model, then this model can output this body. Bob is a male and Bob is Tom's father. So Neuro-Symbolic AI enables human interpretable and robust models. The robustness of this model to handle unknown words is achieved by word embedding. This is a word embedding layer in this model. Word embedding is a method of representing one word with a vector of several hundred dimensions. Skipgram, continuous pack of words, and BERT are models for acquiring word embedding vectors using artificial neural networks. These models can be generated by training with a corpus. A corpus is a large amount of language resources, such as news articles. This is an example of skipgram. The skipgram model is trained to output the words before and after the word, which is input into it. If love is input into this model, then this model will be trained to output my father and my mother. This sentence is, my father loves my mother. Word embedding vectors will be extracted from the parameters of the skipgram model. The word embedding vectors have the property of representing word meaning. This is an example of a two-dimensional mapping of word embedding vectors. You can see that the capitals and countries are clustered in a particular area. In our proposed method, similarities between the known and unknown words are used to resolve handling of unknown words. We represented the similarities between words by word embedding vectors. We also used the word embedding to conduct analogical reasoning. Next, I will explain analogical reasoning with Neuro-Symbolic AI. Because of advance for information technology, a wide variety of data, so-called big data, has been generated and stored. These include web articles, social media, and videos, etc. AI researchers and data scientists are trying to discover new rules from big data. Knowledge discovery with deductive reasoning and inductive reasoning requires a huge amount of search. We think analogical reasoning will be effective for efficient knowledge discovery. Next, I will introduce transfer learning for first-order predicate logic as related works. In this study, they searched whether the rules found in one knowledge base could be applied to other knowledge bases. This is an example of transfer learning. This study conducted brute force searching to verify if rules apply to another knowledge base. Therefore, this study required searching a huge hypothesis space. Next, I will introduce analogical reasoning with deep learning as related works. In previous studies of deep learning, analogical reasoning focusing on the similarities between objects have been conducted for images and knowledge graphs. This is an example of analogical reasoning for knowledge graphs. The power model is reasoned from the solar system. So far, no studies of analogical reasoning targeting rules of first-order predicate logic have been conducted. There are problems with knowledge discovery methods for rules in previous studies. These require searching a huge hypothesis space. We think one of the solutions is to efficiently discover rules with analogy focusing on the similarity of relationships between objects. I will introduce our study of analogical reasoning with Neuro-Symbolic AI. This study is inspired by our previous study of Neuro-Symbolic AI. What you see in this slide is the mechanism of analogical reasoning. Here, the source domain means known knowledge, and the target domain means unknown knowledge. By using similarities between the problem of the source domain and the problem of the target domain, the solution of the source domain is mapped to the solution of the target domain. Next, I will explain analogical reasoning in first-order predicate logic. To reason rules, we apply resolution and matching of Prolog to the mechanism of analogical reasoning. This is an example of analogical reasoning for rules. Suppose we know the rule: if X is a female and X is Y's parent, then X is Y's mother. And suppose we don't know the rule about father. The problem of the source domain is X is Y's mother. The solution of the source domain is X is a female and X is Y's parent. Suppose we could find similarities between father and mother. Then the problem of the target domain is X is Y's father. So we can map X is a female and X is Y's parent to this solution on the target domain. However, if X is a female and X is Y's parent, then X is Y's father will not be correct rule. We will be able to discover the correct rule if we can replace female with another term. Since the correct rule cannot be discovered only by rule analogy, matching analogy is also conducted. This is an example of analogical reasoning for matching. This problem of the source domain is X is a man X is a male equals to X is a male. The solution of source domain is true. Suppose we could find similarities between male and female. Then the problem of the target domain is X is a female equals to X is a male. So we can map true to the solution of the target domain. This allowed us to discover the correct rule. If X is a male and X is Y's parent, then X is Y's father. We achieved analogical reasoning for rules and matching using Neuro-Symbolic AI. First, I will explain analogical reasoning for rules using Neuro-Symbolic AI. We applied the resolution model used in our previous study to a rule analogy model. In the rule analogy model, we trained to output the solution of the source domain when the problem of the source domain is input. This is an example of rule analogy model during training. The problem of the source domain is the head of the rule. The solution of the source domain is the body of the rule. When Mary is Bob's mother is input into this model, we will train this model to output Mary is a female and Mary is Bob's parent. The rule analogy model predicts the solution of the target domain when the problem of the target domain is input. This is an example of a rule analogy model during predicting. The problem of the target domain is the head of the rule. The solution of the target domain is the body of the rule. If Tom is Bob's father is input into this model will predict Tom is a female and Tom is Bob's parent. Here, father is an unknown word. This means the training set of this model didn't include father. Father is converted to a word embedding vector and is input into this model. This model can output the solution of the target domain by using the word embedding, which can deal with word similarities. Next, I will explain analogical reasoning for matching using Neuro-Symbolic AI. We applied the matching model used in our previous study to a matching analogy model. This is an example of a matching analogy model during training. The problem of the source domain is the question. The solution of the source domain is the answer. When Bob is a male equals to Bob is a male is input into this model. We will train this model to output true. The matching analogy model predicts the solution of the target domain when the problem of the target domain is input. This is an example of a rule analogy model during predicting. The problem of the target domain is the question. The solution of the target domain is the answer. If Bob is a female equals to Bob is a male is input into this model will predict true. Here, female is an unknown word. This means the training set of this model didn't include female. Female is converted to a word embedding vector and is input into this model. We built an analogical reasoning system using the rule analogy model and the matching analogy model. If a head of the unknown rule is input into this model, this system will discover new rules and output these rules. This system is composed of an analogy engine and an evaluator. By the rule analogy model and the matching analogy model, the analogy engine reasons from the head of the rule and generates several hypotheses. The evaluator references knowledge base and verifies the hypothesis. First, I will explain the analogy engine in detail. The analogy engine generates hypotheses with the rule analogy model and the matching analogy model. This is an algorithm of the analogy engine. I will explain this algorithm with a process example. This is a process example of the analogy engine. Suppose the head of the rule X is Y's father is input into the analogy engine. The analogy engine reasons the body of the rule with the analogy rule model. This analogical result becomes one of the hypotheses. The analogy engine reasons one of the terms in the body with the analogical matching model. Here, female is replaced with male. This result also becomes one of the hypotheses. The analogy engine reasons the other term with the analogical matching model. Here, parent is replaced with spouse. In this way, the analogy engine generates several hypotheses. Next, I will explain the evaluator in detail. The evaluator verifies the hypothesis generated by the analogy engine. This is an algorithm of the evaluator. I will explain this algorithm with a process example. This is a process example of the evaluator. The evaluator picks up one of the hypotheses. The evaluator refers knowledge base to verify the hypothesis. Here, the evaluator refers the fact Bob is Tom's father. Then X is substituted to Bob. However, there is no fact Bob is a female in knowledge base. It is impossible to apply this fact to the hypothesis. Next, the evaluator refers the fact Bob is Mary's father. It is also impossible to apply this fact to the hypothesis. For this reason, this hypothesis was rejected. The evaluator picks up the other hypothesis. Here, the evaluator refers the fact Bob is Tom's father. Then X is substituted Bob and Y is substituted to Tom. It is also to apply this fact to the hypothesis because there is a fact Bob is a male and Bob is Tom's parent in knowledge base. In this way, the evaluator verifies hypothesis. Next, I will show you the results of evaluation experiments. We evaluated the analogical reasoning system using Kinsources. Kinsources is a collection of data representing flat relationships. The knowledge base described in Prolog consisted of 5,887 atoms and 10 types of predicates. This is an example of Kinsources. We divided this knowledge base into several datasets. This table shows datasets of Kinsources. To evaluate the analogical reasoning systems, we removed several rules from this dataset. This table shows results of the rule analogy model by Kinsources. These are the results of the rule analogy model built into the analogy system. This table shows results of the matching analogy model by Kinsources. These are the results of the matching analogy models built into the analogy system. This is results of the analogy reasoning system by Kinsources. In dataset A1, 3 rules were hidden, and the system discovered 3 rules. Discovered rules were the mother rule, the daughter rule, and the wife rule. In dataset A2, 3 rules were hidden, and the system discovered 3 rules. Discovered rules were the father rule, the son rule, and the husband rule. We extracted all 3 rules in each of the 2 datasets. Next, we evaluated the system using IMDb. IMDb is a movie and television-related database. The knowledge base described in Prolog consisted of 20,658 atoms and 14 types of predicates. This is examples of IMDb. We divided this knowledge base into several datasets. This table shows datasets of IMDb. And this table shows results of the rule analogy model by IMDb. This table shows results of the matching analogy model by IMDb. And this is results of the analogical reasoning system. We extracted rules from one dataset. However, we were unable to extract rules from another dataset. The proposed model represents the similarity of the problems using word embedding vectors. Therefore, there is a possibility that the performance of analogical reasoning systems can be improved by refining word embedding. Next, we evaluated the system using Clutrr. Clutrr is a benchmark data generator used to test relational reasoning on text. We built a knowledge base described in Prolog from the data. This knowledge base contained multiple types of rules with the same head. For example, there are rules if Y is Charles' mother and Johnny is Y's brother, then Johnny is Charles' uncle. And if Y is X's father and Y is Steve's brother, then Steve is X's uncle. These rules have different predicates each other in their bodies. We divided this knowledge base into several datasets. This table shows datasets of Clutrr. This table shows results of the rule analogy model by Clutrr. And this table shows results of the matching analogy model by Clutrr. This is results of the analogical reasoning system. We extracted 22 rules from both datasets. The results of this experiment indicated that the proposed system could reason even if the dataset contained multiple types of rules with the same head. Finally, we compared our proposed method with the baseline for computational complexity and search efficiency. We have defined the number of hypotheses generated as computational complexity. This is a formula for calculating computational complexity of the baseline. In the baseline, templates were created from known rules, and unknown rules were searched by setting atoms to anonymous variables of the templates by brute force. This is an example of templates of the baseline. Here, underbars mean anonymous variables. This is a formula for calculating computational complexity of our proposed method. The computational complexity of the proposed method is the number of hypotheses generated by the analogy engine of our proposed system. And this is a formula for search efficiency. Search efficiency is the number of discovered rules divided by the computational complexity. This table shows results of computational complexity and search efficiency. This column is computational complexity, and this column is search efficiency. The computational complexity in the proposed method was smaller in any of the datasets than in the baseline. The search efficiency of the proposed method was better than that of the baseline, except for the datasets for which the rules could not be found. It is considered that the larger the size of the knowledge base, the more advantageous the computational complexity and search efficiency of the proposed method compared to the baseline. I'm going to wrap up. We proposed analogical reasoning systems based on first-order predicate logic using deep learning. We have implemented analogical reasoning systems by using Neuro-Symbolic AI models with word embedding, which can represent similarity between words. Experimental results show that our systems could efficiently extract unknown rules from previously learned rules through analogical reasoning. Our system is the first to enable analogical reasoning by first-order predicate logic using deep learning. One of our future work is improving the performance of analogical reasoning systems by improving word embedding. Another future work is implementing knowledge of cognitive science into analogical reasoning systems. That's all for my presentation. Thank you for your attention.